Our guest tonight is former WWE superstar, referee, Raw general manager, Brad Maddox. Well, I'm just being told, no, it's Mad Braddox. Okay, that's who we're talking to. How you doing tonight, man?
Hey guys, I'm good. How you guys doing?
We can't complain. We can't complain. We got you, my friend. Well,
Yeah,
listen.
you have to refer to me as Matt Braddock.
Okay, I can
It,
do it.
it, it rhymes with Brad Maddox, so that helps you remember.
Every time I go to make an ironic nickname, it's always I just switch the first letter of my last and first name. So this really strikes a chord with me. So
And
this,
then say in the impact zone.
in the impact, yeah. Then we say that, but don't say that yet. Don't do that. The biggest topic of conversation for you recently, unfortunately, has been your release from WWE. Will you explain why you were let go by the company, and if there are any hard feelings regarding your departure?
Yeah, at least I'm making news now. Yeah, so I mean, you guys know what it was all about. I called the Indianapolis crowd pricks in a dark match before the SmackDown taping, which I didn't consider inappropriate or a bad word. Especially knowing it was dark, and my job is kind of to go out there and to work up the crowd a little bit, warm the crowd up, and you don't have the rules like you have on TV where I can talk directly to the crowd. I make fun of their football team and their basketball team, and I tell them they smell bad, and whatever you want to use to get them worked up. So yeah, I just kind of threw that in there. I was going to call them losers at the end, but I thought, oh, that's kind of lame, so I decided to call them bricks, and Vince did not take it as lightly as I did.
Well, would you be open if WWE came back to you and said, "Hey, enough time has passed. Would you be open to going back to them?"
Depends on what I'm doing. I'm certainly not going to close any doors. I feel like I've got enough experience in my 31 years of age to know that you can never say never. But we'll see what happens. I've got some other plans, and I'm working on some other things, so we'll see what happens. I'm not opposed to it.
Mike Chiari?
Well, you were really unique in terms of your mic work and your character compared to most guys in WWE. But it seemed like you weren't given a lot of opportunities to kind of take the ball and run with it for whatever reason. Do you feel like your creativity in any way might have worked against you in terms of not necessarily being like a by the book, stick exactly to the script kind of wrestler?
I do actually, and I should have just played it out a little more. Like there were some, for example, there were a few times where I had to go out and do like the Teddy Long speech and say, "Hey, you guys are fighting, so I'm gonna make a match," and I just walked to the back. So me being a creative person, I hated those promos. Like I hated just going out and just saying, "This is what's happening," because I'm the GM and leaving. So like a lot of times I tried to make too much out of it, like not knowing my place. And if I had just taken care of business early on and it showed a little more often that I can just go do what you're asking me to do, and then hopefully later on you give me more, I kind of would push the envelope at times, which probably did work against me.
BG?
Well, you mentioned what led to your release from WWE, but I think many fans would be curious about the process. Was there any indication that saying the word pricks would lead to being released? I mean, haven't worse things been said in front of a live crowd?
I would say worse things have definitely been said. I guess the difference is, usually those things get cleared, or like it's something where they want a guy to look cool or something. So it's planned ahead of time, whereas, I didn't exactly tell anyone that I was going to go calling bricks. So that's not the right way of going about getting over. Not that like that was my plan, like I'm gonna go out here in front of this crowd, I'm gonna call them pricks, and I'm gonna really get over, and it's gonna catch everyone's attention, and I'm gonna really get made tonight. Like I wasn't thinking that, but obviously certain things you would have to get cleared, and that would obviously make a difference reactionary wise backstage.
Oh, well, recently, independent wrestling star Joey Ryan reached out to you on Twitter asking about a possible tag team. Is that something that interests you, and how excited are you to get onto the indie wrestling scene?
Well, I mean, me and Joey are friends. I hang out with him in LA every time I go out there and go to PWG shows. We might. I don't know. I don't know if he was messing around or not. I'm sure we probably will at some point, because he does he's kind of my brand of wrestling a lot of times. I can't wait to get like really carny at some of these independent shows. Like that's my forte. I used to mess around so much back in the early FCW days. It was kind of like the Wild West back then, not so controlled, and you could kind of go out and have fun and be goofy, be super carny if you wanted, and like I'm the master of that. So I'm pretty excited to be able to go out and not have a producer tell me what I got to do or ask me why I threw an arm drag in there at a certain time instead of a hip toss. So that, yeah, the freedom should be plenty fun.
Well, you mentioned PWG. Are you drawing any interest from anything that you can talk about as far as like Ring of Honor and PWG, and as far as the independent scene goes?
Well, I haven't heard from those guys yet. I'm working on bookings. I'm getting some other things non-wrestling together as well. So I'm not exactly sure what my plan is yet. I'm still kind of getting things together, and enjoying football season and not having to travel on Sundays anymore is nice because I'm a Carolina Panthers fan and they are undefeated. So I'm kind of enjoying that.
They're a
Must
little
be nice. We all like are below 500 football teams.
Yeah,
so.
I was about to shit on. I was just about to shit as an Eagles fan. I was just about to shit on you and the Carolina Panthers, saying how overrated they are as an undefeated team. But that's just my ego and my bias. I'm sorry for that.
Man, they're the worst undefeated team in the league right now.
Yeah, they are. They are the worst undefeated team in the league right now.
And the best.
I want to be mad at you right now. So mad. Mad Maddox, you son of a bitch. Hey, Mike Chiari.
Well, you debuted on the WWE main roster in a pretty high-profile spot, getting involved with CM Punk as a referee in his world title match. You did stuff with Paul Heyman, The Shield. But for me, as a fan, it didn't seem like the payoff was everything that it could have been. So for you, what was your expectation of how that angle was going to play out? And looking back, what do you think could have maybe been done better or differently?
Yeah, I agree with you as far as it could have led somewhere a little bit better than it did, but that's kind of where I messed up early on, where like I wasn't proactive enough, or I didn't go to Vince in those days. I didn't knock on his door. I didn't go ask questions to the right people or say, where's this going? Or, hey, do you guys know that I can wrestle? I mean, do you know that I came up in your developmental system and like did all the things there that they said I had to do to get moved up? I mean, do you know that I'm qualified? So it was a lack of communication on my part with Vince and Hunter, and the right people, which probably would have made a totally different impact instead of just sitting around waiting on the writers to come, having my script and assuming like they've got some kind of grand plan for little me. So I could definitely have been more proactive in the early days, but I really enjoyed working with Paul and like working with Vince in his office and going over promos ahead of time with Vince. It was some pretty cool experiences.
PG?
Well, WWE's creative team has been under fire, not just from fans recently, but also from former WWE legends. And you just spoke about, that you may have been waiting around, or you thought maybe that the writers were going to create something that would have made sense to us. What was your experience like then with the creative team? What are your thoughts of the creative process as a whole in WWE?
No, I mean, I got along with all those guys really well. It's really just a matter of, like, they have a lot of content to get through every week, and they got a lot of stories and a lot of, they got a roster full of guys to write for, and obviously, even though I was put in a good spot, but it's not like I was one of the most important guys. So they're focused on the main angles that are going to make money for the show, and then of course everything's got to be run through Vince. So there's a limited amount of time there. So that's where like you can't depend on someone else to handle your career for you. That's where you have to go and knock on Vince's door and say, this is what I want to do, or what do you think about this? Where I should have taken care of business for myself, because it's not like I'm John Cena, so it's not like I'm making a ton of money for the company. So I'm not going to be a priority up front.
Oh, well, while everyone was talking about The Undertaker on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, it was your role as the turkey that really stole the show. How did you get the honor of working with The Undertaker on national TV?
I knew The Undertaker was there, but, like, I was a turkey on Thanksgiving. I feel like there's no higher honor.
You
No,
just
yeah.
Undertaker just happened to be there.
Yeah, it was like, let's book this turkey and then let's see if we can get something to work with.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that was fun. I think I might have been like the only guy left in the States at the time because everyone else was working on the European tour. I don't know why I was paid for it, but I had fun with it. I kind of assumed ahead of time that it was going to be like a full turkey hat, mask, and then I get there and they show me the outfit. I'm like, where's the rest of it? I guess everyone's going to know I'm a turkey. Awesome. But it was a lot of fun. I got to meet Jimmy Fallon, and he informed me that I had made it in show business. That was cool.
Well, you got to work with The Undertaker. What was the conversation with The Undertaker like before, like about how he's going to tombstone you? What was the conversation like?
We were talking to their writers on what they were thinking, and I mean, there wasn't much for me and him to talk about, honestly. I mean, not that I didn't talk to him, but it's like, we went over like me walking around him and trying not to laugh, and then like during rehearsal we just like, okay, this is the part where I'll tombstone you, and I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, it's The Undertaker. I'm sure he's like done enough tombstones that I don't need to rehearse it with him. I'm pretty sure I can trust him.
Well, it probably brought him back to Survivor Series 1990, actually. Gobbledygooker.
I will say that I didn't envision my first tombstone from The Undertaker being in that environment. If someone had told me 9 years ago when I started wrestling that I'm going to be tombstoned by The Undertaker, but it's going to be at 30 Rock on late night television, I probably wouldn't have believed him.
Dressed as a turkey, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Kiori.
WWE essentially, they had you on the sidelines for much of 2014 and 2015. What was your communication with the higher-ups like during that time period in terms of what they were telling you about your role? And also, in that same vein, as a performer, how did you handle not getting utilized and kind of having to wait for your next break?
Like I was saying, like, there's a limited amount of time every week for implementing existing storylines and creating new ones. And actually, after I was TV fired as GM of Raw, shortly after I was taken off the road. And so I was sitting at home for about 8 or 9 months. And at that point, communication becomes very difficult. So it was a lot of waiting. And I kind of did some YouTube stuff on my own to keep myself occupied and my creative juices flowing. But yeah, it was a lot of waiting. It was during that period of time when I decided on, like, if and when I get back up there, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, and I'm going to make sure that I'm not afraid to talk to Vince and to speak to him like a man and to knock on his door every week and to talk to him as much as I need to, and not worry about middlemen and making sure I'm going straight to the horse's mouth and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of when I became determined that I was going to either like do something or leave.
BG?
Well, as part of our show, we have to keep track of what's reported on various websites. And what are your thoughts on the rumors and leaks that surface? In your estimation, where are these leaks coming from, and what would somebody gain from leaking certain information, such as storylines or other creative ideas?
What rumors are you talking about?
We follow the dirt sheets, man. I know you've heard of them.
I honestly, I don't know how stuff gets leaked. I have no idea. I guess, I don't know, certain guys are just buddies with other guys, and I have no idea how it works. Like the news on me came out, I didn't know how that happened.
That's fair. So, you weren't given many opportunities to showcase your skills in the ring as a wrestler, but you were certainly able to generate a reaction from the crowd with your speaking skills and your natural charisma. Do you think you would have excelled as a manager, and why do you think WWE didn't put you in that position?
I would never have stuck around to be a manager. I just wouldn't have. I like wrestling. That's why I started. I watched guys like Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho be entertaining in the ring, and that's what I wanted to do. And if I had gotten pinned into that role, I just wouldn't have made it very long because I wouldn't have been happy.
Kiari, last question.
Yeah, well, I know that you said you're kind of playing it by ear at this point in terms of wrestling, but now that the WWE chapter in your career is closed, at least for now, is there anything in general that you're hoping to accomplish in the wrestling business? Anywhere in particular you see yourself going, maybe over the next year or more?
Just in the wrestling business?
Yeah, or even outside.
Because I plan on diving into acting. That's kind of I don't want to say priority because I want to do both, and I'm like really excited to getting back to working on a regular basis and getting like into ring shape, which is just so much different from being in regular shape, and it's not something you can accomplish by working a dark match once every 2 weeks. So I have no idea where I'm going wrestling yet, but I know I'm going to do both, and I'm going to focus a lot more heavily on acting now that I have the freedom to pursue that.
Well, a huge thank you to Brad Maddox, to some of those in the know, for coming on the show this week. Tell the fans where they can buy your sweet new merchandise and where they can follow you on social media.
Yeah, I have merch. Isn't it awesome? It only took me like 9 years to get the t-shirt.
Like 2 seconds after it happened.
It took you 9 minutes. 9 years in WWE and 9 minutes out of WWE.
The first thing is like, I don't even care if he's selling it. I want a shirt now.
You're just wearing. Hey, listen, I'm actually wearing my own shirt right now. There's no harm in that, Self-advertisement.
No. Yeah, of course not. And that's on what is it? ProWrestlingTees.com/Mad Maddox, which rhymes with Brad Maddox, incidentally.
I get it.
I get it. Now you also get it. We get it on the show. We get it. Now, what about social media? Where can they follow you on Twitter and Instagram or whatever?
Well, yeah, Twitter is still Brad Maddox's WWE at the moment. I'll have to figure out how to change that, I guess. Instagram is still Brad Maddox. I'll have to change that, I guess. And I'm going to get back to work on my YouTube show, which I was doing some stuff while I was sitting at home, which I thought was pretty good. And I'm going to get back to figuring out some kind of funny idea for that.
Yeah, I remember.
Go back in a cave.
Yeah, you were
please.
trapped in a cave.
People thought that was real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe it. You guys have not asked me about the cave until this point in time.
No, we're trying to be mature here, but you brought it up. But yeah, the cave. We were sitting.
I want to talk about the cave now.
Yeah,
I was concerned.
Yeah, I was also concerned.
Okay, so this was like while I was sitting at home, so I thought of an idea to try to get people worked up, and make it look like I got trapped in the cave and I'm losing my mind and I'm going insane. And then the light comes on and you find out I'm in my closet, and I actually am losing my mind, but it's not from being stuck in a cave. It's from being stuck at home. And I lost my dream job because I was on top of the world and I was the general manager of Monday Night Raw, and now I've lost everything and I'm just like rotting at home and it's driving me insane. So I'm like, going to ridiculous lengths to get attention again. And I think I got what I was looking for. Like the payoff video had 100,000 views with absolutely zero help from WWE or any sort of advertising whatsoever, or even a small little blip on their .com. So I feel like I was hoping the writers would run with that, but sadly, it went nowhere.
Yeah. Welcome to WWE Creative. If it's
at
momentum.
At least I had a few people calling Mexico.
Is he okay? Is Mad Braddox okay?
People calling the Mexican authorities, Brad Maddox put up a YouTube video, and he is stuck in one of your caves. Let me pull up the video. He says where he's at.
Oh, that's amazing. A huge thank you again to Brad Maddox, Mad Braddox, for coming on the show. We really appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, thank you guys. I had fun.